Hello, I'm Donald Leggett. Welcome to the latest London South East CEO interview. I'm joined again by Mike Buck, CEO at PetroChina, the AIM-listed Mongolian oil explorer and developer. PetroChina made a big oil discovery in Block 20 late in 2019, and since then have been working towards commercializing the Heron discovery and on further exploration in Mongolia. Mike joins us for an operational update. Greetings, Mike.
Hey, greetings, Donald. Good to talk to you again.
How are things with you, Mike?
Well, it's been good to see the world coming out of the pandemic years with some enthusiasm and a return to conditions, I guess, that we once took for granted. Good to be able to travel again. And with respect to Mongolia, I think the country responded to COVID pretty well throughout, and internally is now fully open, looking to recover economically. Frustratingly, China's zero COVID policy has had a big impact on landlocked Mongolia, which only borders China and Russia. And both of those currently have issues that have a global impact. So, been good, but still challenging.
Okay, and picking up on those challenges, let's begin with an update on the work programme for the first half of the year. How's that progressed, and what have you been able to achieve?
Okay, well, fair to say that we have not advanced as far as we wanted to, due to, I would say, two main factors that I can give some further details on as we talk. But in terms of the progress to get Heron field ready to produce, I think we've made good progress and the team is working hard to be ready. We've ordered all of the surface equipment we need for the Heron 1 completion, including the pump, the power generation unit, etc. These are now manufactured and they're shipping right now. We expect them to be in country within weeks. The southerly border crossing with China, which is the one we'll be using, is still restricted on the Chinese side due to COVID, but it's reported to be opening soon. The crossing's not fully closed. Equipment is not stopped, but it is a bit slow. But we think in a couple of weeks that stuff will be in. We've also worked up a good startup solution for the commencement of production to minimize the permitting requirements that there otherwise would be. And so with the reduced permitting requirements that we have, those are also in hand. We've designed a frack for Heron 1 and a completion using a Europe-based expert specialist. And that's going to bring, let's say, globally tried and trusted frack solution to Mongolia effectively for the first time. The in-country fracking company has had to send some of its equipment back to China for repairs, but it's coming back in now. Crews have also changed out, so some people that were stuck in country for a very long time and not able to work for one reason or another have finally managed to go home, but the replacement crews are coming in. And that contractor, the fracking contractor, expects to be operational next month. Service contracts are signed with the fracking and testing teams, and the fracking team has yet to give us their exact availability when they'll be available to come to our job because they've got a backlog of work for their parent company, PetroChina, in their neighbouring operations. But the testing contractor has been very bullish and said he's going to give us priority. Not sure why, but we're not fighting with him. So operationally, good progress. It's been a little bit difficult to get quality time with PetroChina's Mongolian operating affiliate because they have had some considerable problems of their own, which I will talk more about. We've been looking to get cooperation and an agreement, a commercial agreement on oil sales and oil export using their facilities. And as you may remember, we have a memorandum of understanding in place with PetroChina to that end. It just needs the details to be sorted out. They've been a bit slow at coming back. We've got good support, though, from the regulator, MRPAM, and we're hoping that PetroChina will engage now, given that their 2022 oil export and drilling programs have finally started. In the meantime, we've been pursuing some standalone options for production startup or in the event that we don't get traction with PetroChina in the short term, but we're still very hopeful that we will. Finally, on the drilling cooperation with DQE Drilling, who are the main in-country provider of drilling services, progress from their side has been slow, but we've now received some proposals, and those are under review in-house to see what we can do with the possibility of accelerating the development program over the next couple of years. So I'd say that overall on Heron 1 completion, we are progressing to be ready to go once COVID and land issues are resolved. On the cooperation agreement with PetroChina and DQE, we're pushing for them to pick up the pace.
The big obstacle to progress in the first half of the year, of course, is the as you alluded to, the land access issue, which no doubt is highly frustrating for you. It's certainly highly frustrating for the shareholder base. Anyway, talk us through the current situation and how do you see a resolution to the land issue problem?
Okay, well, yes, this is a big frustration all round. And it's quite a complicated subject, but given the impact, it's probably worth giving a bit of detail. Under our PSC agreement, the government warrants that PSC land is certified as what they call special purpose, meaning that the contractor has legal access without needing approvals at local level. Due to some difficulties and conflicts within the land law, for example, overlaps of special certification for more than one purpose are very difficult to handle. No PSC land was ever actually registered as special purpose. And we found this out in the case of our areas in 2019, when our activities in Block 20 were temporarily shut down by the local authorities. Pragmatism broke out. We were able to finish. We were able to make our discovery and get the commercialization going. But since 2019, we've been pushing the central government hard to certify our lands as special purpose, as per the PSC. This has taken far too long. Draft amendments to the land law have been prepared, and we've seen them, and they will fix the problem long term. But the land law in Mongolia, which has, as you know, a nomadic tradition, land law is a very big deal. So changes to the law will likely take some time to enact, because obviously that has to go through various committees in Parliament, which is either currently happening or due to happen in the fall session of the Parliament. Mind you, at the administrative level, we are finally seeing some progress as a result, I think, of our lobbying, and our certification is now advancing with Cabinet support, and we are hopeful of a positive solution soon. Now, I know the word soon doesn't really say when, and that's kind of deliberate, because I had hoped that in the time since 2019, things would have been fixed.
So what to say, Mike? What is your workaround? In the short term, what's the short-term solution?
Well, let me just add that without that special purpose certification, land access needs to be granted by the local authorities. And I think it's important to know that we've been doing all we can to get local authorities to approve our land access. But unfortunately, so far without success. We haven't let that put us off. We continue to make fully supported, fully legal applications for land access, and we continue to lobby the local authorities to grant that. So effectively, it's a two-pronged solution. But the reality is, Donald, that without legal access to land, we won't mobilise. Until such time as we know we can be there unmolested, we won't mobilise. We are pushing hard to get the central government solution soon, and we have an application lodged with the local authorities for their next meeting of the administrative body that will look at this as soon as possible. It's fair to say the local authorities they are the local authorities for the district that has seen 95% of Mongolia's oil production. And over the years with other operators, there's been tensions growing, which is why they are reticent sometimes even to put these items on the agenda. But there's a full court press from central government at the moment, from the highest level all the way through down to the regulator and companies like us. So we're doing all we can to move it forward, but it's very much up to the government to fix it.
Okay. Moving on to COVID restrictions, you briefly mentioned that they were lifting. Are you now able to get workers and equipment on site? And how would you summarise the situation with you now?
Well, we keep very close tabs on this because almost all of the oil industry support for Mongolia comes from China. And China's COVID response has obviously been a major impediment to the movement of people and indeed to trade. First half of 2022, in fact, has been very rough for Mongolia. Chinese restrictions shut down the movement of people, direct air transport, even oil export was suspended for the first 6 months of the year. And it also severely restricted the movement of equipment, not totally prevented it, but made it slow and very, very cumbersome. Now, by mid-year, things had started to improve, and through July, we have seen some major improvements. Oil export has restarted, which I'm sure is very, very well received by the Mongolian government, who otherwise were missing out on revenues from their share of their production at a time of, very, very high oil price. So that has now restarted. There are two main border crossings that are used for the equipment associated with the oil industry. The northern one has been open for some time. The southern one, which is closer to our area of operation, is reportedly to be opening soon. And when I say reportedly, we're actually seeing the preparations being made on the Chinese side of the border to reopen there. And finally, direct flights from China to Mongolia have recommenced. So the movement of people is now easing as well. So I would say things are improving. The main drilling contractor in Mongolia, DQE Drilling, is now operating at probably around about 50% of its normal capacity with rigs running on some of the PetroChina exploitation areas where, incidentally, they have special purpose certification. So that's going ahead without difficulty. Crews are also coming in more easily, not as easily as it used to be, but a lot more easy than it was during the pandemic years. So the second half of 2022 has seen a big improvement, and the Chinese contractors that are now starting to mobilize, they seem confident that Chinese restrictions will continue to ease rather than snap back shut for whatever reason. So I think it's a positive story at the border.
Okay, we've been following your story for several years now, Mike. I'm watching you really giving it everything you've got. So first of all, let's say well done you. You've been fantastic. Well done. Hang in there. And despite all the delays, despite all the frustrations, nothing has changed really. Heron 1 remains a substantial oil discovery. Exploration opportunities in Mongolia are as exciting as they ever were. So give us the investment case all over again.
Yes, thanks, Donald, for your continued interest. And we shouldn't lose sight of the big picture here. Yeah, we've got some massive frustrations, but we're doing all we can to fix them. And Mongolia does need to fix a few issues, some of which I've described, so that some companies like us can actually progress. But from an investment point of view, the potential value of Heron and the surrounding low risk, very low cost upside in the exploitation area that we retained is not reflected at all in our share price. It will day, and hopefully that one day won't be very far in the future. The transformational potential of the prospectivity we have in Block 5 and the knowledge we have of other areas in Mongolia may also add to the investment case. And we are still actively looking for ways of pursuing particularly the potential we see in Block 5 within the life of the current PSC.
So you remain positive about the outlook for PetroChina, medium long term?
Yes. The government recognises at all levels that the current issues that are frustrating us need to be fixed. When I go and see the minister now, he knows what I'm coming about when I walk through the door, and he doesn't need me to explain the details. He knows all about it. The same is true at the chairman of the regulator. The whole of government gets it now, and we do see that they are pushing hard to fix it because the country needs much more energy independence than it currently has. And I would say that I'm enthusiastic for the place. Very, very good work ethic, very, very investor friendly, despite the problems that the law can throw up that get in the way. And this is a low-cost operating environment with huge potential. And I think PetroChina as a company is uniquely positioned to exploit that.
Okay. Well said, Mike. That was Mike Buck, CEO at PetroChina. Thank you so much for taking the time to update us on what's happening in Mongolia. I'm sure it was really appreciated. For more free company information and data about PetroChina, please go to the MATD pages on London Southeast, all free for followers. And meanwhile, Twitter, we're on @London Southeast, or you can register on London Southeast YouTube to receive alerts to interviews just like this. Thanks for watching, and as always, do stay safe.